Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Coach's Corner. We are live here at the Tiffany Tap House, so make sure to come on down, enjoy some beer, some great food. My name is Juan Arellano, and alongside me, Sarena Espinoza. Sarena, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. How was your Thanksgiving break?
Oh, it was great. I got to go back home to the west side, California, for those of you who don't know. It was really great seeing my family, hanging out, eating good food. You know, always a good time to go home.
That's awesome.
How did you spend yours?
So I also ate a lot of good food. I went to my grandma's house for Thanksgiving, so that was awesome. But I didn't really go outside of the state, so I can't be bragging about that, right?
No.
All right, so Sarena, what do we have in line today for our show?
So first up, we'll have head cross-country coach Trent Mack on the show, as they took part in the NCAA regionals just a few weeks ago, so I'm sure we'll get a few words about that. Then up next, we'll bring on men's head basketball coach Michael Bahl into the show to talk about their past weekend here at home. And then sticking with basketball, we'll bring on senior guard Kyle Lawson to talk with him a little bit more about their season so far and what his expectations are going on the rest of the season.
That's awesome. It sounds like we're going to have a lot of good guests, but before we get to them, let's recap the weekend in Roadrunner sports. The women's basketball team had a great weekend. They first defeated Bemidji State 71-51 at the Auraria Event Center. Senior forward Georgia Ordorf led the way, scoring 17 points while adding 5 rebounds, and freshman forward Erica Correa had her best game as a Roadrunner, tallying 9 points and 8 rebounds. The following night, Coach Tanya Jave's squad made it 4 straight wins, holding William Jewell to a season-low 35 points in the 14-point win. 10 different Roadrunners scored in this one and improved the record of 4-2 in this season.
And now for the men's, as they split their 2 games this past weekend. They first dropped a tough 81-74 decision to Northwest Nazarene on Friday night. Senior guard Peter Mueller led the Roadrunners in scoring, dropping in 17 points, while Enrique Cortez recorded the double-double, scoring 12 points and pulling down 10 rebounds. North Georgia came in to downtown Denver the next night, and it was a battle to the very end, but it was Cameron Williams who came up big, scoring a season-high 29 points in the 82-72 win. Next up will be conference play for Coach Bahl and his squad.
All right, so now we say hello to cross-country head coach Trent Mack. How you doing tonight?
Not too bad. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah.
So how did you spend your Thanksgiving? Did you go back home, or did you spend it here in Denver with the family?
Yeah, I was here in Colorado. Low-key, 3 kids, my wife, and her parents drove down, and we met up in Fort Collins. So pretty low-key, uneventful, but that was kind of how I like it at the end of the season.
Yeah, those are kind of the best, you know.
Yeah. And what's your favorite Thanksgiving food that you ate last week?
You know, my aunt back home in South Dakota makes some pretty good stuffing, but I didn't have it this Thanksgiving, so you know, I had a kind of second best, but it worked. I still ate enough food.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. So the last time we talked to you, your team just finished competing in Chadron for the RMAC Championship. So next up was South Central Regional Tournament in Canyon, Texas. I know for softball we have to drive because of 500-mile limit rule or something. Did you guys get to fly, or did you guys also drive it out?
No, we actually drove down. You know, with the layover, the transition in flights. By the time you're halfway there, you know, it's actually worth driving. And we stop on the way, take our time. It's not a hurry. And when we get out there, we always get there early enough to run the course and look it over, so they get loosened up, ready for the day, for sure.
Nice.
All right, so the men's race was a 10K race. Brandon Croggy, he finished 24th overall. So talk to us about how the men's race went and how they competed with the best of the best in Division II.
Man, the men's race was interesting. You know, I found myself, obviously typical nerves early in the race, but there was a point in that race, you know, I was telling Janice Christensen, our assistant coach, and then she's our head track coach, you know, there's a point in the race around 7,000 meters. I was just watching the guys come by and kind of counting points, and I was like, man, they're seriously putting one together. And you know, at that time, at that moment, even though there was about 2 miles left in the race, you know, I was really happy with what they've done, and I knew that I was going to walk away regardless of the results. Pretty content with how we were going to finish the season. I knew that maybe there was a little bit too big of a spread for us to advance on to the NCAA championships, but they did everything they did, and we could not have finished on a better note.
That's awesome. So can you expand a little bit more on Sam Burke's season? You mentioned earlier that he was a surprise to you this year, and it seemed the stage wasn't too big for the sophomore from Longmont.
Yes, Sam had a frustrating, start to the season. He came off an injury all summer that carried into the season and could not get it figured out. He was trying to work back into it, and finally with, TJ, our trainer down at the Regency Center Athletic Complex, met up with him, made some adjustments, and it wasn't long before we started seeing the improvement and him able to handle the training. And he did everything you need to do when you're dealing with an injury, because he bounced back quicker than most, and he's a competitor, and he's one tough competitor, and made a huge impact. I mean, it just shows on probably a third of the season doing the workouts the rest of the group was doing, to be able to come in and finish as our #2 guy. Pretty impressive for a race of 6 miles to put that kind of performance together.
Absolutely.
All right, and now let's talk about the women's race. It was a 6K race, and Sabrina Router and Alden Gridell led the way, helping you guys finish 15th overall. So just give us your thoughts on the women's race.
We went into it with a plan of what we wanted to accomplish and walk away. Last year, a year ago, the women were 15th at the regionals in about 30 teams in a competitive region. We knew that with Erica Ruiz redshirting this year, that those ladies would have an opportunity to step up and be some front runners for us. And they really kind of interchanged throughout the season. But what was nice, they worked together, and we really improved across the board from their performance a year ago. And we maybe didn't have the front runner that some of the teams might have that you see, but that group of individuals racing together was able to come back and finish equivalent to a year ago, 15th again, which actually at the beginning of the season we set it as a goal, and it was kind of a lofty goal considering what we were doing with those graduating and some of those redshirting. And so it really shows the work that they put in and the performances they put together, and they saw it as well. So they're pretty excited in how that carries us forward.
Yeah, and that's definitely gonna carry you guys forward for the next year as well.
Absolutely, yeah. They all returning, so that's nice.
Yeah, speaking of that, tell us what you told the team after the race, and what can your squad take away from this experience heading into the next season?
I think that's the thing. We talked about realistic goals going into the season, and maybe that we weren't competing to win, a regional championship, and because I want them to walk away maybe seeing that they met some of those goals and saw some success, and that if we're really going to do it right, we're going to build a foundation and create a tradition at MSU Denver here of the success that we want to see, then we have to do it right, and it's not going to happen overnight. We really are creating a new foundation, and it's establishing the right communication among myself and the athletes and what's expected and how we're going to go about things day to day. And that's really what our focus was, instead of just looking so much at the results. And I hate to say that because obviously we're trying to get the results, but we want to do it the right way because we want to sustain a high performance when we get to that point as a team.
All right, so you finished up your first season as the head coach for the cross-country team, and you're going to be starting your first season as the assistant coach for the track and field team. So for our fans out there that don't really know the big differences between both sports, what are the major differences?
I think the biggest differences from the cross-country athletes going into track is our cross-country group is made up of a lot of individuals that differ in their range of ability. We have some middle distance runners, some long distance runners, and so as we head into the track season, you have some of those individuals, they're excited. They're not running 8,000, 10,000 meters anymore. They're maybe performing at 800 meters, so 2 laps on the track. Yeah. So everybody gets to specialize a little bit more on their strengths instead of trying to make it work. So they get a little bit more excited about that opportunity, and then you take out a lot of the variables. When you race across country, every course is different, the weather is different, we're at different altitudes every week, and so this gives us a little more consistency. It allows them to race a little bit more because it's a shorter race, so we come back week to week, so they get a little more chance to see the results sooner than later in the work that they're putting in.
Awesome. So what will your duties be as an assistant head coach? Will you work with specific aspects of track and field, like long distance versus sprinters, or how is that going to work?
So Janice Christopher has been working with the group all fall, the sprinters, jumpers, hurdlers, and then we'll bring in the distance group now. And I'll keep working with the same group, 800 meters and up, help Janice along the way with, some of the logistical stuff. But we still continue to do the day-to-day work that we need with our group. And then on meet day we bring that group together and try to put it together as a team. So it's that balance of individual and team performance for sure.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for being with us today on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
thanks, guys.
And also best of luck in the track and field season.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, and before we take our first break, we're going to be bringing you the tweet of the week, and it comes from our volleyball team who took time out of their Thanksgiving break to hand out turkeys to those in need. Despite getting ready for the NCAA tournament, which starts in a few days, Coach Glenn and her squad is giving back to the community, hosting a turkey drive. We have to take a break, but we're coming right back with Coach Bahl from the basketball team, so stick around.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Enough. Yeah, I'm over it.
We shouldn't need commercials to tell you we're powerful.
No thanks. Genders don't play sports. Athletes do.
I'm Brandon Krog. I'm a senior at MSU Denver. I run for MSU Denver cross-country team. You're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
My name is Erica Ruiz, and I am a senior at MSU Denver. You are watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, and before we talk to Coach Bahl, we want to tell you that you'll soon be planning your holiday parties in the next month or so why not have it right here at the Tivoli Tap House? They have great food, fantastic beers. It's located right next to downtown, so go shopping early in the day and then head to the Tap House to celebrate the holiday season with your co-workers. And by reserving your party right here, you'll save an additional 30% on all food and beverages. So visit TivoliBreweryCo.com for all the information you need. So now we say hello to Coach Bahl from the basketball team. How are you doing tonight?
Good, guys. How are you?
We're doing good. So how did you spend your Thanksgiving break and your Thanksgiving dinner? I know it was very difficult, very tough to have it with family because of the tournament.
Yeah, we did we had practice in the morning, and then we went ahead and had a little lunch with the team. And then my family's from here, so I went over to my sister's house, and there's 9 or 10 cousins and stuff. So my brother was there, my parents, and it was a good day with the family.
That's awesome, yeah.
Definitely nice to get away and just kick your feet up and relax and eat some turkey.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is your first weekend at home. You spent the first 4 games on the road in hostile territory against tough opponents. How good of a feeling is it to be back in the Rare Event Center on your home floor?
I think it's important, especially with the transition and everything, that you get some home games, you get to sleep in your own bed, and familiar environment's always good. So it was really good to be at home this weekend in front of our home crowd and be able to play on the floor that we practice on.
All right, so let's get into those games. You guys first took on Northwest Nazarene last Friday, and it was a familiar pattern from the first 4 games. You guys had started off strong. You guys held the lead at half, but then you guys lost it in the second half. So is that just the team trying to figure out your system, or just a team not getting in the rhythm yet?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. I got to become a better coach in those situations in terms of first half to second half, making the adjustments I need to make. But no, we're still trying to figure things out. We're trying to figure out rotations, who works well with who, sort of style and things like that. But overall, I was very pleased with the boys' effort. They fought through the entire game. It was just a couple plays here or there, which sort of put us before the first 4 games. So, obviously you want to win every game you possibly can, but it's a good learning experience for us, especially early in the season.
Yeah.
So we talked to you earlier this season about playing that full court press and looking to score near 90 points per game. With these second half swoons, were they a result of fatigue, or is it the team still adjusting to playing in that certain way?
I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously I think fatigue does play in, and certain guys, I subbed a lot the first half or the first game, and it's hard for guys to get necessary rhythms and everything like that. And give credit to Northwest Nazarene. They made a couple adjustments the second half that sort of bothered us and sort of put a hamper on what we were trying to do offensively. So it's just a learning experience for us all.
All right, so you guys took on North Georgia the following night, and take us a little bit through the locker room before the match. There's a lot of pressure mounting on because of you guys didn't rack up the first win in the first 4 games. So what did you tell your team at that moment prior to the match?
You know, I think the biggest thing was just enjoy it. I mean, we preach process all the time, and, you know, when adversity comes, you really get tested. You know, we got tested, and our guys fought through, and they stuck together, and, you know, it was really good for us to get the win for the guys. You know, you try to preach process as much as you possibly can, but, you know, nothing like a good win, you know, to really get the guys to sort of buy in even more.
Yeah, when all the team plays well offensively and defensively, that's it. The win tastes even better. So.
No, exactly. And I thought the guys came out, and we did a couple things differently with how our style was, and I thought the guys adjusted really well. And the credit goes to the players. I mean, they're the ones who put the work in and day out, and I'm just glad they finally got to see the rewards of our hard work, you know, in the win-loss column.
Trust the process.
That's right. That's right.
So again, your team would hold the lead on break, but one thing we noticed, and you just mentioned it right now, you didn't use your full court press that often. Was this based on some video you saw of North Georgia, or was it an adjustment on your end to change things up?
You know, I thought the night before we probably stayed in our press too long, and it gave Northwest Nazarene a couple of easy baskets, a couple layups that, you know, typically should not have happened. So I think we made an adjustment, and the funny thing is we actually forced more turnovers playing half-court defense than we did full court. You know, so it's one of those things where the style North Georgia wants to run, and we knew they wanted to play fast. So we wanted to get our defense set as much as possible, and it worked to our advantage that night.
Awesome.
All right, so your team heads into the second half, and instead of the other team making moves and taking over, it's your team that's making the moves and keeping the ball and extending the lead. So was there a sign of relief as you watched the second half unfold for you?
I think so. I mean, I think for the most part we've been up at halftime of every game. You know, we've had the lead against some really good opponents, especially through the second half, and just finishing the game the way we finished was a good sign that we are getting better. The process is working. The guys are buying into what we're trying to do, and I think again it just goes back to the give all the credit to our guys. You know, we have 16 guys in that locker room that believe in what we're trying to do here, and winning's hard. It's not as easy as people think. Just because you put on the Metro State Roadrunner jersey doesn't mean you're going to win every single game. You know, the work that puts in, and the teams we play against are good teams. You know, they practice and train just like everyone else. So it was good for us to get that first one under our belt, and hopefully we can hit the ground running this weekend, you know, and see if we can't pick up a couple more.
Awesome. Well, the Nighthawks would get hot late and, you know, get within 6 points of a couple of times, but your team didn't panic. They made 11 of 12 free throws late and secured your first win on the season. Tell us your thoughts on how your team finished that game.
You know, it was a good sign of relief. You know, we've been preaching all season on, you know, making sure we try to get to the free throw line, and, you know, we spent a lot of time on that stuff too. So, you know, going 11 for 12 down the backstretch was good to see, and just get the confidence of the win really helps a ton in terms of, you know, we got 22 games left. Our season's far from over. It's actually just begun. You know, so just keeping that mentality that, you know what, stay the course and everything, you know, everything's going to work out.
All right, so senior guard Cam Williams came up big on this one, scoring 29 points, a season high. He struggled the night before attacking the rim, and you told us at the beginning of the season that he's the straw that keeps all you guys together. So how does his performance help that night?
You know, I thought he did a better job of letting the game come to him. You know, he gave the ball up early. He wasn't necessarily forcing as much as he did on Northwest Nazarene. A lot of that's my fault. I put a lot of pressure on him to make plays to the rim. You know, so taking some of the pressure off him and saying, you know what, you'll get your touches, you'll get your points. And he did a really nice job of attacking the basket. And you can see by his field goal percentage, 10 for 14 is pretty, you know, he scored 29 points off 14 shots is really, really good.
So you get your first win as a head coach. Did you think the first one would ever come, or what were your first thoughts in the final sound after that game?
You know, I mean, the only pressure I have is the pressure I put on myself. You know, Dr. Grant has been phenomenal in my maturation process from an assistant coach to head coach. And you know, I mean, you want to win every game. You know, you really do as a coach, and you want it for the boys most of all. You know, you want them to get that satisfaction of all the hard work we're putting in pays off. But you know, I don't get caught up on the wins and losses. I think if you start chasing wins and losses, you all of a sudden lose sight of what we're here to do. We're here to develop young men, and it starts on the game of basketball, and it's also in life. There's other successes along the way that we try to implement, and if we go about our business the right way and try to get the most out of our guys each and every day, the wins and losses will take care of itself.
All right, Coach, congratulations on getting win #1, and we hope to see more wins throughout the season.
I do too, so thank you guys.
Don't go anywhere, as we're going to be having senior guard Kyle Lawson from the men's basketball team, so stick around.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to make a wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted. We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
We are back on the Coach's Corner, and before we introduce you to Kyle from the basketball team, we want to make sure that you are getting all the points that you want by attending Roadrunner sporting events. So get on your phones, download the Roadrunners Rewards app, attend the games, the Roadrunner luncheons, and even the Coach's Corner, and earn points towards great prizes like free food at games, Roadrunner sunglasses, water bottles, and much more. So download the Roadrunners Rewards app right now. So now we welcome in senior guard Kyle Lawson. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. So how was your Thanksgiving? Did you go back home, or did you spend time here with the coaches, or did your family come from California?
Unfortunately, my family didn't come, but we had games right after Thanksgiving, so I didn't really have the opportunity to. It's sort of what we do. But we had a team meal. All the coaches' families came, and we just ate with them. So it was really nice. Have that family culture here, even though our family isn't here. So
no in and out for you?
No in and out. No in and out. I missed that one.
That's a California thing, right?
Yeah. I gotta enjoy that.
Definitely getting that.
I gotta
over
try
Christmas.
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So now let's get into a little bit of basketball. You had your first home games this past weekend. You took on Northwest Nazarene on Friday, and then the first 5 games of the season have looked fairly similar. You would play well in the first half, and then the second half, you kind of let the opponents take it away. But give us your thoughts on what was behind these second halves. Was it fatigue, or is it just trying to adjust to the system a little bit?
I mean, fatigue plays a little bit into it, just because we press and play so fast that it takes a lot of energy playing defense 94 feet, and teams aren't really used to the press, so they're probably able to get used to it and get comfortable, because they don't really practice against that, or they can't replicate it in practice, so they're a little uncomfortable. And then they're able to make adjustments, so it was kind of tough, especially going into every halftime up and then losing it. But yeah.
All right, so you guys head into Saturday's match against North Georgia, still looking for the first W of the season. So what was Coach telling you guys in the locker room before that match?
He was very positive, trying to keep us all together, and like I said, positive, because going 0-5 is not easy. We're all really competitive, and no one wants to go 0-5. So he's doing his best to keep us positive. And we made a few adjustments, played a little more in the half court, and North Georgia wasn't really expecting it, so played a slower game and came out with the victory, which was nice. We needed one. Just needed the first one.
And that's hopefully you guys rack up more wins, and this one's just the beginning of that.
Oh yeah.
Very early in the season.
Exactly.
A lot of season left. So there would be no second half swoon in this game. In fact, you guys outscored the Nighthawks 44-35 in the final 20 minutes. What changed, or what did you guys do well to maintain that half lead?
Well, we were just moving the ball a lot better. We got more player movement and ball movement, so they weren't able to load up on our offense. We were depending a lot on the guards, so we also threw it inside to Boo, Kane, and Jaron, trying to get the ball inside and play a little bit slower, but inside out as well, which makes a difference and shrinks the defense. And then we were able to knock down more threes in this game as well. So.
All right, so the final bell rings. You get the first win of the season. What was going through your mind as you heard that?
A little bit of a sigh of relief, because like I said, going 0-5 is tough, but finally getting that W is really nice, and obviously everyone on the team was really excited for it. And like I said, all we just needed is just that one, and I feel like it's all going to break now and get going a roll and get a bunch in a row.
Definitely. So talk to us about Coach Bahl a little bit and his coaching style. He's the first-year head coach right now, and I'm sure he's learning just as much as you are. So what have you seen from him so far? You mentioned he was very positive, so what have you seen?
Yeah, very positive, and he breaks a lot of things down, which is nice. So he's able to break down and teach like the parts of what he wants, so that way when we get to the hole and we just play, you've been in that situation like a bunch before, so you know what to expect. You've been there. Like I said, you just know what to expect, and it's easier when you get repetitions and repetitions over and over again, and then it just becomes second nature at that point. So it's really nice to be able to break things down in drills, and then there's no reason why you shouldn't get it right in the game.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to know you a little bit. So you mentioned that you're a Cali kid as well as Sarena. So what brought you to play here at MSU Denver? It's your second season here now at the Mile High City.
Yeah, so I played at Orange Coast College in California, and my junior college coach, actually all of them knew the coaching staff here at the time, which was really nice, and I just felt like a common connection here, and most of the coaches at the time were from California as well, so I just felt kind of at home. Talked a lot about in and out and whatnot, and even though there wasn't too many California kids on the team last year, there's a bunch this year, so it's pretty nice. And
so you guys are more like a family, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. So it says on your profile at roadrunnersathletics.com that you're majoring in sports management. Is that still the case? And what would be the dream job after college?
So I actually went back to my original major, which was history, and then minor in athletic administration. It's like an IDP, but it's still technically sports management. The ideal job for me is I hope to coach one day. So that's why I really wanted to continue playing basketball. And then I wanted to study history, so that way if the coaching thing doesn't quite work out, I could still teach at the high school level and then potentially pick up a coaching job that way.
All right, so what's your favorite period in history?
I'm curious.
Yeah,
mine's World War II because of all the history that happened.
I actually just answered this question. It's like a modern U.S., so like 20th century. I really like the 20s, the 30s, Great Depressions, the World Wars. I really like civil rights as well.
All right, and when did you realize you wanted to play basketball? Was it just picked up a basketball when you were 2 years old, or did it just come later in life?
So actually, when I first started playing sports, it was baseball, 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 and that's all my dad ever wanted me to play. And then in the 5th grade, I picked up a basketball, and the pace was a lot better, so it was much more fun to play. And I was playing catcher at the time when I was playing baseball.
Hey,
so
catcher, yeah.
Hey, nothing's wrong with being a catcher, but it's just tough on the knees, and now I combine it with basketball, so it's probably not going to be great at the end.
I don't know, I'm with you.
But yeah, I just fell in love with the pace and just never went back after that. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Kyle, for hanging out with us this evening. Great luck to you and your team on the road this weekend.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All right, and before we finish up the show, we're going to be telling you what's coming up right next in Roadrunner Sports. So it's NCAA time for our volleyball team, and guess what? The tournament is right here in Denver, Colorado. So come on out to Regis University this Thursday at noon to root on head coach Jenny Glenn and her squad as they take on Texas A&M Commerce. If they win on Thursday, they'll play Friday night in the semifinals. Then the championship will be held at 7:30 on Saturday night. So be a part of the volleyball's run towards an NCAA championship.
So while the volleyball team is close to home, our basketball teams will head north to start their Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference schedule. Kyle and his squad will take on South Dakota Mines on Friday night at 7:30, then venture to Spearfish, South Dakota to battle Black Hills State on Saturday night at 6 p.m. The women's team will face off against the Hard Rockers on Friday at 5:30, while facing off against the Yellow Jackets at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Make sure to visit roadrunnersathletics.com to find video links and watch our basketball teams in action.
All right, so that'll do it for this show. We want to wish the volleyball team the best of luck in their NCAA tournament run as they're going to be starting on Thursday, as we mentioned before. For Coach Mack, Coach Bahl, Kyle Lawson, Sarena Espinoza, and Juan Arellano, we'll see you next time.